We're starting in 2015, where the development of ML started. After Moonton developed its first game, called Magic Rush Heroes, which was released in 2015 to commercial success, they proceeded with developing the company's next project, a certain mobile game called Mobile Legends, which was released on Android on July 14th, 2016, with the subtitle 5v5 Fair MOBA for mobile. On its initial release, Mobile Legends only had 10 heroes available, which were Mia, Balmond, Saber, Alice, Lilulu, which is Nana, Tigreal, Dante, which is Alucard, Karina, Akai, and Franco. And there was only one game mode available, Classic. The first version was pretty buggy. Here you can see someone running around with Alucard, who for some reason have Nana skills. After its initial release, ML was met with a lot of criticism, citing similarities with another MOBA game, League of Legends. You can see that, for example, when you compare the maps. This ended up in a lawsuit that Riot Games filed against Moonton, but we get to that later. In August, the global chat was added, as well as 3 new heroes, Bane, Bruno, and Clint. The OP hero at that time was Karina, which is why she got the first nerf in ML history. In September, ranking was added. Each season only lasted for 2 weeks, and the highest rank was Legend. They also added more heroes like Eudora, Rafaela, Fanny, and our favorite tank, Layla, who had black hair back then. Skins were already a thing back then as well, like Clint's first skin, Sun and Sand. They also added the feature that you can create your own build as well as a battle log, so everyone can see that you got a bunch of chocolate medals lately. In October, Minotaur and Lolita got added. Back then, there were weekly updates on the official server, because as a co-founder and chief executive of Moonton, Justin Huan stated, he prefers the starting first and perfecting it later strategy. And yes, you heard right. Back then, it wasn't called Savage, it was called You may see why Riot filed a lawsuit later on. I also found some funny clips, like this Franco recoil hook trick and this drawing of Mia. Damn, look at those legs. In November, a lot of things happened. After Mobile Legends' initial release, Riot Games has suspected that it was imitating the intellectual property of their own game, League of Legends, and therefore contacted Google to remove the game from the Google Play Store. However, Moonton have removed the game before Google could do so, before eventually releasing it once again, under the name of Mobile Legends Bang Bang, on November 9th, 2016. On the same day, Mobile Legends was also released on iOS. They also started it to focus on features that were necessary for your favorite kind of teammates, AFKler and Feeder. They released the reporting feature, as well as the feature that you can let AFK teammates stay in the base, because the bots were already terrible back then. You could also surrender now if you wanted to end your misery. You had to endure the pain for 8 minutes though. The Brawl mode was also added, as well as everyone's favorite feature, the in-game chat. By the way, there was no Badwood filter back then. That must have been fun. 3 new heroes got added as well, Hayabusa, Freya, and Gord. In December, they added 2 more game modes, Custom and Human vs AI. They also introduced the Starlight membership, so you had another way to spend your diamonds. They also had some interesting Christmas skins. There were also 4 new heroes, Natalia, who was completely OP back then, the dream of all Sims Kagura, except for those weirdos who prefer Belmont, the favorite hero of all wannabes Cho, and the Monkey King, Sun. Here you can check out an old tier list that I found on Reddit. If you wonder who the hell 𝐿 is, that's along. Oh, and abusive words were banned from the chat, the most important feature of the year I guess. In the beginning of 2017, the developers had to address the current status and problems of the game. The ganks in the late game were way too quick back then it seems. And they have made some drastic balance adjustments to fix that. You could also report players now who wrote bad things in the chat. And they also improved the heroes' images with less revealing dressing. I wonder why. There were also 2 new heroes added, Alpha and Ruby. I can hear 𝐼𝐬𝐬 screaming full of joy in the background. In February, there were many problems with AFK players. They got punished harder now. 𝐵𝐸 and Moskov were also added. In March, the ML YouTube channel got the silver play button for 100,000 subs. I still need 30,000 subs for that. So if you haven't done it already, please subscribe now. They also addressed the problems with AFK players again. Many people were furious about it back then. Apart from that, there were also many other problems though. Firstly, they had a lot of issues
issues with lagging. Back then, it was 100 times worse than it is today. Secondly, there were also huge problems with the game balance. CC skills were really OP because they were lasting too long. They also released 𝐉𝐻𝐼𝐳 and 𝐶𝐽𝐿𝑜𝑝s. In the second quarter of 2017, they added the in-game livestream feature, so you could show the world how well you can feed, as well as a draft pick mode for ranked games. Fun fact! Did you know that 𝐿GIN's channel was once named ML Guide? I found it out months after I created my channel. Moonton also worked on fixing the lagging problems with a new network connection technology. That only semi-fixed the lagging issue though. There were 6 new heroes: Estes, Hilda, Aurora, Lapu Lapu, Vexana, and Roger, who was smoking back then. Also some ML YouTubers like Hororo-chan, 𝐿GIN, Shinman, and Assassin Dave started their channels in the first half of 2017. In July 2017, the biggest controversy regarding ML took place. Riot Games filed a lawsuit against Moonton because of copyright infringements, citing similarities between Mobile Legends and League of Legends. Riot Games also complained that the title of Mobile Legends sounded confusingly similar to League of Legends. The case was dismissed in the Central District Court of California though. Tencent, Riot's parent company, which is located in China, then filed a new separate lawsuit on behalf of Riot Games, directly targeting Moonton CEO Watson Xu Shenhua. I totally botched his name, I think, as he had previously worked in Tencent as a senior employee for violating a law regarding non-compete agreements. This was ruled in Tencent's favor in July 2018, awarding them a settlement of $2.9 million. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to nicer things, like the first Mobile Legends Southeast Asia Cup that took place in September. It was the first official esport event for Mobile Legends, and the first champions was the esport team 𝐼𝐼𝐳 from Thailand. Now to the in-game changes in the third quarter of 2017. There were 8 new heroes added: Carry, Gato-Kacha, Harley, Irithyll, Grok, Argus, Odette, and Lancelot. The biggest change they've made was the map. The Turtle and Lord location was changed, for example. Moonton stated it was because of the data they gathered during the first Southeast Asia Cup. Others stated it was to set themselves apart from League of Legends to avoid further lawsuits. Now the map looked pretty similar to today's map. In that time, the balance was a big mess. While marksmen were completely OP, most mages and tanks were underperforming. Because of the first MSC though, they waited to change anything about that until the tournament was over. They also added new features like the early surrender system, a new UI design, and a new memory usage system, so ML runs smoother on low-end devices. They also added the Mythic rank since it got too crowded in Legend rank. In the last quarter of 2017, they've remade the emblem system and also added 5 more heroes: Diggy, Hylos, Zazk, Helcurt, and Pharsa. Otherwise, they've made mostly balance updates, because this was still the main issue of the game. Another thing I haven't mentioned are all the remodelings they have done in 2017. Here you can see some. The most basic features we know today are already implemented at this point. However, there were still tons of changes and optimizations they had to make in 2018, especially regarding balancing, remodeling old heroes, and adding new ones, as well as graphic updates. For better graphics, the celestial balance and themed maps like the Ice Carnival were added. And you could get custom animation effects like the recoil animation or battleground emojis to annoy everyone around you. And also to spend a ton of money on them. They also released the next generation backgrounds and models. Some optimization examples are that you're receiving 1 star instead of 0 when the new season started. They increased the number of bands from 2 to 4, the Pro Equipment tab was added, and the medal system got changed, so it took much more things into account than just the KDA. There were also new features like the group system, the like system, the emblem matrix, the mentoring program, and the mastery code. They also added new modes like the survival mode and the death battle. The tier list looks pretty interesting at this point. Martis was completely OP, while Hanabi was already the worst MM back then. Now if you wonder how many new heroes got released in 2018, it was 22, which included heroes like Leslie, Angela, Gusion, Selena, Aldok, and Hanzo. 2019 was the year where the first MLBB World Championship took place, which was won by the Indonesian team EVOS Legends. In March 2019, Moonton approached SNK for a collaboration, introducing characters from the King of Fighters game series as skins in the game. There was also a huge update announced in July 2019. MLBB 2.0,
One part of it was the engine update to a more recent version of the Unity game engine, from version 4 to version 2017. They improved the graphics with it, reconstructed the UI, and introduced the new in-game map, Imperial Sanctuary. In July 2019, Moonton released a spin-off game titled Mobile Legends Adventure. In this year, they also released new arcade modes, like Ravage, Evolve, and Chess TD. The Mythic division got also new rules. The small division Mythic 1 to Mythic 5 were added, so there was a better match balance. And Mythic points replaced the rank stars. With this, they also introduced the new Mythical Glory division, and also the 6-man draft for Mythic players. There were also map changes, like the introduction of the red and blue buff, the added Lethal Wanderer, and the Cyclone Eyes. They also added another 16 new heroes, like Vale, 1-1, Ling, and Badang. In early 2020, the game was heavily affected by third-party plugins and script that allowed map hacks, prompting Moonton to publish punishments made through its social media accounts, revealing the account ID of the banned players. Some accounts were also hacked due to the exploits. That may have been due to the third-party scripts, according to an official statement from Moonton. In response to that, the two-factor authentication feature was added. Magic Chess was also included as a permanent arcade mode, after temporarily being added in January 2020. In June 2020, Project Next was announced as Moonton's next big project, slated for Mobile Legends' 5th year anniversary. In the first phase, that was released in September 2020, many old heroes, such as Mia, Alucard and Layla got revamped to make them more useful in the current meta. They also drastically changed the battlefield by adding the golden XP lane, as well as adding the jungle system, where you could only buy jungle items when you had the retribution spell equipped. With this, they created a dedicated jungle role we still have today. There was also a new minimap introduced, new leveling up and recall effects, as well as some UI changes and a new logo. They also introduced a new matchmaking system, where solo queue teams doesn't get matched up against triple queue teams anymore. And you could also see the team up type in the post screen. This highly improved the matchmaking, although it was still not perfect. In November 2020, Moonton announced Filipino professional boxer Manny Pacquiao as a brand ambassador for Mobile Legends in the Philippines. To commemorate the partnership, Moonton also launched a hero based on Pacquiao, known as Paquito. Later they also released a skin with the appearance of Pacquiao. The first collector skin was also released in 2020, Badang's Fist of Zen. And yes, I got it back then as soon as it was released. The second World Championship took place, which was won by Bren Esports, and there were 11 new heroes, including Sicilian, Yuzong, Lu Yi, and Brody. There was also a young German guy whose name was Nico, and he played ML for the first time in February 2020. The first hero he ever used in a match was Hilda. For everyone who's new to my channel, my name is Nico. How you doing? Fun fact! How you doing were the first words I ever said to my wife. So if you want to get a girlfriend or wife yourself, just ask a nice looking girl, how you doing? That also may work the other way around. In 2021, the ML YouTube channel reached 10 million subscribers and also achieved an all-time gross of $1 billion, with 44% of its revenue coming from outside Asia, making it the top mobile game of its genre with the most global appeal. The second and third phase of Project Next was also released. In the second phase, they made some huge equipment adjustments, introducing 3 new items with War Axe, Shadow Twin Blades and Radiant Armor, and also removed all jungle and roam items. So junglers and roamers have more options for their builds. They also revamped Karina, Alpha and Minotaur, and introduced the custom UI feature, where you can finally hide the minimap that you were ignoring anyway. In the third phase, they revamped 4 more heroes: Kagura, Hayabusa, Lancelot, and Odette. Changed the UI once more to its current version, and they also revamped the Brawl mode. Mobile Legends also celebrated the 5th anniversary with a special skin for Mia, who was the first hero that was ever created. There were also 2 skin collaborations with Star Wars and Transformers, which got us the Master Yoda and Optimus Prime skin. Moonton also released its first ever animated television series, titled Legend of Dawn: The Sacred Stone, which looks interesting in my opinion. The third World Championship took place, which was won by Blacklist International. Followed by that was the controversy about Moonton denying Blacklist wish to give Estes the M3 skin. The hashtag #WeWantEstes trended on different social media platforms, and Moonton announced, despite their previous decision, to give Estes the M3 skin. There were also 11 new heroes, including Beatrix, Valentina, Paquito, and Eve. In January 2020, the new Sanctum Island replaced the old Celestial Palace map. And on January 10, 2020, Moonton announced their first ever anime-themed skin series, called the Aspirants, featuring renowned Japanese voice actresses Yoshino Nanjo and Nana Mizuki. In February 2020, Mobile Legends also announced its collaboration with Sanrio, featuring iconic characters like Hello Kitty. And here we are in April 2020, having a pretty good MOBA game in our hands. I hope you enjoyed this little journey. And if you want to learn more about the game I just talked about, check out my 50 noob mistakes video. See you over there!